I'm telling you, whether it be Aaron Rodgers thinking maybe possibly about retiring, meditating about retiring or something, or thinking about possibly maybe the Denver Broncos, because the Denver Broncos, once they found out that Green Bay had signed Aaron Rodgers, or they agreed, they immediately turned their attention to Russell Wilson. They were big game hunting.
It seems like they were having talks prior to that, seeing what was going on as a plan B.
Yes.
And then when he signed, it became plan A.
It did. And there's two reasons why it became plan A. And the one reason that nobody is seeing is that the Denver Broncos are up for sale. And this now, all of a sudden, believe it or not, makes them worth even more money, because now all of a sudden the fan base is excited. Season tickets are going to go up. Sponsorships are going to go up. Suites are going to go up. Everything is going to go up. And just by this trade by George Patton, their GM, not only do they make their football team better, but they also make their football team worth more. I'm telling you.
I am surprised you just said that.
Why?
Because we talked about Russell Wilson, and every time that I brought him up with the Giants, you're going, he's not the same player as he was.
Yeah, he's not.
They gave up a tremendous amount. They're going to have to pay him like crazy. I mean, listen, everything about the value of the franchise, I can't argue. When you get a superstar like that and the tickets,
you're
excitement.
misinterpreting what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You
just said they made the team better.
No.
I don't know if they did.
Well, they did, because he's better than Drew Lock, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
but I'm just telling you, he's not what he was 5 years ago. And I think anybody who's watched him play over the last 2 years would tell you that. And I told you, a lot of this has to do with him getting a contract extension, which I'm sure Denver will now offer, because you don't offer up 8 assets to get a quarterback unless you think that he's going to be there for the next 5 or 6 years. So they're going to have to extend him. There is no question about that. And his agent, and he will be happy. This whole thing with Seattle was about a contract extension.
Yeah, I mean, and they were looking straight in the face of a rebuild. They were paying him a tremendous amount. They were going to have to pay him more. And I think they made out really well in this deal. Really well.
But does it matter if they don't have a quarterback?
Well, but you have to rebuild at some point.
Well,
at some point it always happens to you.
And they did that prior to getting Russell Wilson.
I mean, they weren't going to win. I mean, they were cash strapped or cap strapped, whatever you want to say. And then the roster was crumbling around them. They were terrible. They couldn't build the offensive line. I mean, this to me, when the value of Russell Wilson might not have been higher post him winning a Super Bowl than it was right here. If he played another season and they were another losing season, he didn't play well or got hurt like he did last year, they were never getting this. We were just talking about it. Why not? If you could get multiple first-round picks and players and start over that way, why not do it? It takes guts to do something like this, man.
Basically what they did is they got back their draft pick that they lost to the Jets.
Yeah, for the horrible Jamal Adams trade.
Right. So the Jets have I think the 9th pick or something, and Denver now moves right up in front of them. But the real key to this thing is that you ended up picking up 2 starters, one on offense, Noah Fant, and the other one on defense, the defensive end, defensive tackle, Shelby Harris, who's like the sneaky little really good player that Seattle got back. And, and Pete Carroll loves those defensive linemen. So I don't know how good they'll be. And plus they have a ton of draft capital now. And they are where they were prior to Russell Wilson coming there back around 11 or 12 years ago. So they'll try to build this team. I don't know if Drew Lock will be the guy. I don't know if maybe Mitch Trubisky will be the guy. I don't know if it's Geno Smith going to be the guy. But they'll go after another quarterback somewhere along the line. So this is kind of like the domino effect. Now, I have seen where everybody's saying it's 4 years, $200 million, for the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. It can't be that, because that would make the salary cap worse than it is right now. And I guess according to Pat McAfee, that's not the contract that was signed. And Aaron Rodgers said, that's not the contract that I've signed. And according to that show, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to take all the money because he wants them to re-sign the people around him. And I'm assuming, since he did agree with the Packers on whatever the contract is, because I have not seen it yet. All I've seen is reports of what people think it is. I don't know how they're going to structure it to lower their salary cap impact so they can sign some of these other guys. And maybe it's a $200 million contract over, like 5 years or 6 years or something like that with a big upfront bonus. I don't know. But if it's you do the math. If it's 4 years, $200 million, that's 50 against the salary cap. Right now, he costs 46 against the salary cap, and they're trying to lower that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, they're going to figure it out. They're not going to get penalized for going over the cap. The main part of it is that Aaron Rodgers is staying there.
Right, and Devontae Adams was tagged, and they're still going to try to talk to him and get him a contract extension too. So they still have so much more to do. Plus, they're going to have to let guys go. They're going to have to let some really good defensive players go. They may end up letting a few offensive players go. But again, right now, Aaron Rodgers is at 22% of the salary cap for the Green Bay Packers as we speak here, meaning that he's still under his old contract.
Yeah.
Whatever the new contract is, we don't know what it is yet. But according to his buddy, Pat McAfee, it's a contract that isn't about taking up that much of the salary cap because he wants to be able to continue to play with some of the players that are coming up for, new contracts like Devontae Adams.
Sure. It's important to him to have a team around him to go out and lose in the divisional round of the championship game again. It's really important to get back there and lose again because that's what they've done.
So just also to get back to Russell Wilson for 1 second. So he does raise the value of the Denver Broncos. The interest is higher now. Right now, there's an excitement out there. There are going to be season tickets being sold, sponsorships being sold. That's what at least a reputational superstar like Russell Wilson will do for a team. Now, whether or not they're going to make it to the playoffs, given the conference and the division they play in, this is just another quarterback in the AFC, and it makes it a little bit more easier for Aaron Rodgers to get there now. Because you're not dealing with Russell Wilson and you're not dealing with Tom Brady at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's been places that I've looked at, and you may disagree with this, but there's been places that I've looked at where I said, man, they really are a quarterback away. And then they've gotten that quarterback, and they've been really good, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Jameis Winston was, squinting and throwing picks all over the place, but they had Mike Evans, and they had a damn good defense, and Chris Godwin and Shaq Barrett. I was like, man, they really are a quarterback away. The Denver Broncos defensively last year were one of the better teams in the league, but they've still had 5 straight losing seasons. And offensively, and I know Russell Wilson changed things, I get it, but offensively they've been pretty bad, and one of their big weapons went in this deal. And they play in that division too.
And they still have plenty of draft capital, by the way.
Right, I mean, but they play in that division too. I mean, I don't know. This is not a slam dunk for me that they're all of a sudden they're right in the playoffs. I mean, if you would have told me that, Russell Wilson went to the 49ers, then I would have been like, oh man. And now that would not have happened, obviously, because you're talking about 2 NFC West teams. But I don't look at the Broncos as this juicy landing spot that everybody else did. And it's mostly, quite frankly, because of this division.
I will say that if Aaron Rodgers went to Denver with Nathaniel Hackett as his coach, then you're looking at one of the better teams in the AFC. Because Russell Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
I mean, he's... At one point in time, he was a dynamic, just unstoppable player. And the way he plays, and he's going into an offense now that will be a recreation of the Green Bay offense because that's what Nathaniel Hackett knows. I don't know how good of a fit that, and again, I don't know really what offense would really fit Russell Wilson. If the way that Aaron Rodgers plays in that offense is brilliant. He stands in that pocket, throws missiles all over the field, very rarely gets hit. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson runs around like a maniac.
Yeah.
And he makes secondary plays, which is great. And that's the way he plays because he's a little bit shorter, but he doesn't play like Drew Brees played. Drew Brees was another one.
He was a pocket guy.
He was a pocket guy. So I'm thinking Nathaniel Hackett is going to, move Russell around and he'll modify some of the approach because I just don't necessarily know that the offense fits the player. But then again, I don't know which offense really does fit the player. I've been thinking about this. And I'm like, what offense really fits Russell Wilson? Now, the other thing that comes out of this right now is that Ryan Tannehill looks like he's pretty safe in Tennessee because I think Tennessee had an offer on the table. Obviously, Denver had an offer on the table. And maybe there's another team that we don't know had an offer on the table. The Commanders had an offer on the table. And I think the offer on the table was either for Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson to see what would happen.
Now, when you look at this haul, the Giants could have offered something similar and actually even a little bit better. Now, I don't think that they should have, because they really have a lot of holes all over the place, but they could have. Now, if you're telling me that the Seattle Seahawks
may not have wanted any of the players that the Giants would have been offering.
Right, but I mean...
These two players that they offered, this Shelby Harris and Noah Fant,
yeah, okay.
That's two starters right there that are young players, that are really good players and have very good upside.
Oh, but Drew Lock, Daniel Jones. Who are you taking out of those two guys?
I'll take Daniel Jones.
All right, Saquon Barkley, Noah Fant. Is it that big of a deal? Those two guys, one significantly better than the other?
I don't necessarily know that anybody wants Saquon Barkley.
Okay. I mean, but if you're putting them in this deal, I mean, Noah Fant's under contract for one more year past where Saquon Barkley is. But to me, that's just another. And you had better draft picks.
I mean, do you want Russell Wilson here?
I'm not saying I would have done the deal. I would have not done the deal. I wouldn't have done the deal if I was the Denver Broncos. Quite frankly, it's too much.
And by the way, you have to remember that Russell Wilson also had a no trade clause that he had to waive. So if they were going to make a deal, it had to be to somebody
somewhere he wanted to go.
To go to. So
I just wonder if the Giants. I'm just curious about their philosophy. Like, I wonder if they knew that he was on the market. Would they have put together a package? Was it even on their radar? Because to me, they very easily could have, and they're not in that much of a different situation than the Broncos are. The biggest difference between
salary cap,
right is and also because they both have new coaches. They both were pretty pathetic offensively. I mean, the Giants are in a better division to try to win it and compete than the Broncos are in. The big difference on the field with the Giants and the Broncos are significantly better defensively.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment that this isn't going to be some easy walk to the playoffs.
No, I don't. Broncos. Yeah, no way.
Not in that division.
No way. I mean, Russell Wilson. Oh, by the way, I mean, what was it? Not this past season, but the season before. The first 8 games, people were talking about him as an MVP.
Well, he was talking about him as an MVP.
Well, no. He was playing that well.
Yeah, but he was also being asked about not, having any MVP votes. Well, that's not how it works.
Right, but he was playing well. And then he fell off. And then last year was as bad of a season you could possibly have. Now, he hurt his finger on his throwing hand, which is a big deal.
And he came back early, so, because he really wanted to play, wanted to be out there on the field with his guys, and he probably played 2 or 3 games with that bad finger.
And, and they won the Super Bowl and were competing for Super Bowls before he got his money when they had one of the better defenses we have seen in the modern era. That's when Russell Wilson was really good.
This is the problem when you have a quarterback that eats up 20 to 22% of the salary cap. And that's exactly where Aaron Rodgers is right now until we see the new contract and what the extension looks like. Because remember, Aaron Rodgers still has a year left on his original contract. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if this is going to be a 4-year extension. You know what I mean?
3-year extension?
If you want to lower the salary cap number, you got to go out farther in terms of the years, thinking that, maybe there's 1 year at the back end of this where he decides not to play and it's money that's there and it looks better on paper, but it's really not going to be money he's going to see.
Yeah.
And it's going to lower the salary cap. They have to lower the salary cap number. If your quarterback is over 18%, you got a problem. You really do, because you just can't fit all the other players underneath, the salary cap if you're paying that position that much money.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.